G'day guys, it's Dave here from Old Rigs Down Under. Welcome to the latest video. Something a bit different today. We're going to remove this fuel tank on this CH and put a better one on it that doesn't have these dents on it, and I'm going to polish it up. So we've got a bit of new rubber, and hopefully the nuts on the straps come undone okay. Just pumped a bit of fuel out of it, and we're going to go over to another truck over here and grab a tank off that, set it up in a frame I've got, sand and polish, and I'll just take you through the process of the way I do them, and it'll come up nice and shiny. Rightio, on these strap bolts here, get you where you can see it. If you've got enough room out the end of it, run a die nut on them, 5/8 UNF normally, because these will just bind up the further they get out with all the rust and scale and filth that's in those threads, and it'll just make it difficult to get off. So I just run a die nut on them. If I can start it. Just give it a fighting chance. It's not overly tight, but it'll just help clean the thread out. You can hit it with a wire brush, you can do anything, but if you've got a die nut, it just makes it a little bit easier. You can wind it all the way on, and you know that as soon as the nut gets over that initial width of itself, it's got a pretty clean thread to run on. Right, we'll see how she goes. Make a bit of noise anyway. Quite well. See, it just did come across a little bit of a tighter spot. And if that thread wasn't clean, yeah, they would have probably would have had to go back forward again, spray it, and come back again and keep trying to work it past the tight spot. So yeah, that worked well. She's a bit tight, but she came off. off like a bride's nightie. So I got the tank off the other truck, and I'll end up putting this one just back on here so you can get into it and move it if need be, whatever it might be. So as you can see, that front face of it's in a lot better condition. So just going to take it around and give it a bit of a wash, get some of this rubbish off it. We can start to sand it back and make it look a bit better. All those cockatoos up there on that shed. Grain shed over here at Henty. Absolutely loving life over there. So got this tank cleaned up a little bit. I know it doesn't look clean, but just some of the heavy particles and rubbish off it. I've given these a bit of a scrape, and I'm just going to see how they react with a bit of sanding. That's where the strap goes. I've got it in my frame here with the rollers on it. So you can see it'll roll around, and you can put it in whichever position you want to put it in. Obviously, got to be a little bit careful over there. Where it is, it's right on that edge. But I've got these little brakes on here too, on these casters, which will stop it from moving. So I've got just my old Makita sander polisher. I'm just going to start off with some 400 grit and see how that comes up. Then we'll go 800, and then we'll put the polish on after that with a woolly wheel. Anyway, some of you might have different ways of doing it, but that'll be the way I do it. And look, the tank won't come up perfectly, but it'll be okay. There are going to be a few little marks like that, but I mean that's where the straps go. It's not too bad otherwise. There's a bit of marking on the front of it here, but again that's pretty well hidden, so I won't spend too much time on that. But just on the area that you can see. Geez, those cockatoos are handy, aren't they? Noisy bastards. Anyway, we'll try and give all this front area a decent clean off and sand up and see if it starts to come up a bit better, where the caps come off there and rattled around. Might get rid of some of that darkening there. Anyway, we'll see. So you can see what effect the 400's having. So it's just starting to smooth it off. I mean, not going to get all of that out, so we'll just have to wear some of that. But look at those bastards. Anyway, you can see it is putting a pretty uniform finish on it. So I'll just keep going along with that. Try and clean these strap marks up as best as I can. Go over them with a little bit of Scotch-Brite even, but anyway, you can see the picture. It'll keep getting better and better. Okay, I've just given that a hit with the 800 now. Like I said yesterday, start with 400, coarser, finish with the 800. Now if you want a mirror finish and a really perfect finish, you could start with a coarser than 400 again and finish with a finer than 800 again. I mean, the more you polish it, the more you sand it, the better the bloody quality of the polish is going to be. But I mean, this is not a new tank. There's plenty of nicks and marks and sandblasting in it. This will just be a marked improvement on where it was. Marked improvement, pardon the pun. Anyway, we'll see how it reacts with this polish now, see what it wants to do, to quote someone we know. Put the woolly buff on, see if we can get some shine. Well, it's not quite the finished product, end result, but it's close. So these marks here are where the straps go, so they'll be covered. And I'll do in and around these welds here, and just this stuff by hand. It's a bit hard to get the buffer in there. The ends are a bit scabby, but you don't see them very much. I'll do them by hand and clean out some of those marks. This is all in behind, you won't see this. So I'll just do this section by hand, but yeah. The longer you spend on them, the better you get them. So if I had have sanded that another 2 or 3 times, I would have got all those fine marks out. You can see some marks in the top there. A little bit more work on the CH, as you can see. That tank's polished up now, and it was the one off the truck. I didn't have to swap it, so it wasn't so bad. Got some hubcaps to go on it. Done a little bit of work to the sleeper. The top cap was just getting a bit loose on it, just with the old rivets, so I've just lifted it back up and put a series of new rivets in it and put some sealant in up under the lip, and it should be right to fight on for another, I don't know, about 30 years, but we'll give it another 10, eh? So you can sort of see she's all broken along there. Managed to get it sorted. Well, got it lifted up. You can see where it's been. Got some long rivets. So 30 new rivets later, a little bit of sealant. She should be right to go, I reckon. Today I'm going to replace the wheel bearings on the steer of this CHR. We're in the shed today, which is good because the weather looks like it could turn a little bit outside. So I'm just going to remove bearings. This side is new, but it's in grease. I just put it in grease the other day because that hubcap is actually cracked and split, and I didn't have another one. We just had to get the thing home. So take the bearings out, wash them right apart, wash them right out, replace the hubcaps, fill with oil. Repeat on the other side. So this truck's going to go out to Winton in another week or a few days or so. So we're just doing a few little jobs on it to make sure it's going to be good for the trip. First stage is just to remove the lock tab. Front axle on these Macks, 2 5/8. So I've got, not sure if you can see that or not, but there's a trolley under the wheel there. I've already backed off the brake, so just going to get it to a point. I can remove this nut. The wheels off. Now you just got to be careful with these because you've got all the weight on the drum and the arm at the rear of it there. If you don't hold the bottom of this trolley, it can just flip in like that, and then you've got to pick the wheel up off the ground. So I have decided to go down a little bit of a different path. I've put the bearings back in grease, but I'm still going to fill the hub with oil, just so it's got a bit of a mixture of just been talking to a couple of people and having a bit of a think about it, and I'm going to give this a bit of a go. So a couple of mates, Kelvin and Mick, they're always big on putting a little bit of putting grease in there with oil, making a bit of a slurry. So we're going to give that a go and use this as a test case, I suppose. But either way, you know, my fear with the oil in there is if you get a leak while the truck's sitting and you just jump in the truck one day and drive to where you want to go, that you might have wheel bearing failure because there's nothing left in there. So grease was always a in my mind a safe option for something that wasn't doing a lot of work or not constant work. So this might be the best of both worlds, and like I say, two mates that do good work, and both mechanics by trade. So it's always good to pick up a little bit of information from other guys. So we'll give that a go, and then if it shits itself down the track, Mick and Kelvin, you'll be solely to blame. Anyway, let's hope it works, eh? So what I've done here, put the bearing on, put grease in it, a little bit of oil in the middle of the hub. Yeah, with the first nut, take it up until it's tight, so to seat the bearing, spin it a bit, make sure it's tight, and then bring it back a quarter of a turn, and the weight of the bar will drop itself. That's when you know the weight's come off the bearing. Give it another spin, rock it, give it a bit of a whack up the top of it, and you're left with just a little bit of movement there. So what I'm going to do now is just take that up. Put the second nut on there. Still got a little bit there, so I'll take that back off. Run the inside one up, just a little bit further. To do that up by hand, it would probably indicate that it was just a little bit too loose. pretty close there, so I'll nip that up a little bit more. I'm pretty happy with that. So with that method, I think it's an anchor man when they say 60% of the time, it works every time. Well, the CH is on the road. We're up here at Barcaldine on the way to Winton. The R model on the back. Great to see Andy's given it a bit of a tidy up down the back rims, and she's looking a treat, going well. So we'll leave this video here and we'll get into the rest of the trip in the next one. Off to Longreach.